You paid for 100% grated Parmesan. So why are you getting with pulp? Yes, cellulose. It's legal here under a neat labeling trick, and the FDA lets it slide. Europe banned that product as Parmesan. We're naming 5 U.S. cheese brands and products that don't pass Europe's rules.
More than 20 brands of Brie and Camembert cheese are being recalled this morning. The FDA says they were linked to a listeria outbreak. The agency says 6 illnesses were reported and 5 people have been hospitalized. You can find the full list along with pictures of the packages on the FDA recall page. One of those cases is in Michigan. The cheese was sold between August 1st and September 28th at stores across the U.S.
Stay with me because I'll show you the exact word on the label that opens the loophole, the slice that legally isn't cheese, and how to swap one habit and save money while dodging fillers. Once you see it, you'll never buy the green can the same way again. Quick favor before we move on. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 92% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the video.
Food and Drug Administration says the majority of dairy-related disease is coming from raw milk. Good evening, I'm Eric Franke. First tonight, some of Madison's cheese experts say the new study doesn't cover all of its bases.
The FDA has new numbers about raw milk and illness, but in a state filled with the stuff, we break down the study and tell you what cheeses are safe to eat. Raw milk cheese is riskier than anything pasteurized. According to the FDA's recent edition, 60% of dairy-linked outbreaks over a course of 13 years were raw milk related.
You spot 100% grated Parmesan and think you're getting the real deal. Then it hits the pan and acts like confetti, not cheese. It clumps like sawdust in a shaker and refuses to melt into sauce. That mismatch isn't an accident. It's the label doing a little dance with your assumptions. Let's start with the word that does the heavy lifting, grated. That single word shifts the rules. It doesn't have to mean pure cheese. It means a style shredded to crumbs.
Time to check your fridge. The FDA is recalling more than 1 million bags of shredded cheese that may contain metal fragments. The packages were sold in 31 states, including Kentucky and Indiana, under dozens of private store brand names. The products were sold at Walmart, Target, Publix, Aldi, and other national retailers. The affected products include shredded mozzarella, pizza and Italian-style cheeses, and provolone cheese, as well as grated pecorino romano.
And that opens the door for processing aids, anti-caking agents, moisture controllers. The front shouts 100%. The product form quietly says, we added stuff so it flows. Standards of identity set what Parmesan is supposed to be, but they also carve out space for additives in processed forms. So the tub can legally carry that clean claim while the tiny print covers the extra passengers. Here's the tension. The front label is a clean kitchen. White tile, pure claims, rustic vibes. Turn it around and the fine print brings the shop vac. Cellulose or potato starch show up to keep the cheese from sticking. Calcium compounds help moisture stay in line. Natural sounding? Sure. Expected in real cheese? Not if you think cheese is milk, salt, and cultures.
Cheese connoisseur discloses anything with raw on the label.
Not necessarily because they're 100% more safe, but just because they're worried about the possible side effects of consuming raw milk. Are we in need of wine? Here's the rosemary and olive oil Asiago.
With wheels stacked like library books.
Okay, this is a half right here.
Few have read up on fromage like Tyler Mueller. But a new study begs to differ. The FDA looked at dairy-related disease from 1993 to 2006.
That gap between the promise and the ingredient list is where you pay for fillers dressed as helpers. So what does cellulose actually do? Think of it like powdered rain boots for crumbs. Coats each flake so they don't grab onto each other. That keeps the product loose and pourable, which makes it easy to shake on pizza. But that coating also gets in the way of melt. Heat wants fat and protein to bind and flow. Plant fiber doesn't melt. It just rides along and waters down the cheese you paid for. It's safe as a food fiber, but it changes texture and performance. A little goes a long way. That's the point and the problem. Now enforcement.
We are definitely looking at the possibility that there might be a pathogen in there.
John Umhofer knows Wisconsin Cheesemakers Association artisans have to age anything made with raw milk for at least 60 days. Majority of outbreaks and almost all of the hospitalizations from those illnesses were linked to raw milk products.
On paper, the rules exist. In practice, oversight is often reactive. Agencies step in when someone tips them, a test flags a product, or a recall lands on the desk. Routine checks are limited. Labels skate by as long as the letter of the rule is met and no one rings the bell. That's why the same tubs sit on shelves for years, even after media dust-ups. The system isn't built to hunt down every edge case. Let's talk about the Greenkin saga. Over the years, independent tests and watchdogs took a hard look at Parmesan products in the center aisle. They found cellulose across the category, sometimes higher in store brands. None of that data hits you at the shelf. You just see 100% grated and a price that looks better than a wedge. The texture tells the rest of the story when it hits heat. It flakes, it sputters. It never gives you that silky cling you expect on pasta. Here's the split that matters. Authentic Parmigiano Reggiano follows a tight rulebook. A short ingredient list, long aging, and no shortcuts. The result is dense flavor and clean melt. Industrial Parmesan plays looser. It can use pre-grated blends, anti-caking agents, and faster production. Same shelf word, different worlds in the bowl. One relies on time and microbes. The other relies on powders and process control. Europe draws the line harder. The name is protected and the additive rules are tighter for what can be sold as that cheese. When U.S. products with flow agents try to wear the same name there, they run into walls. Some are reformulated. Some lose the name. Some just don't show up. The market adjusts because the rules force it. So what is the takeaway for your cart? 100% grated is often a form claim, not a purity claim. It can legally include anti-caking agents here. It won't pass as Parmesan under stricter European interpretations. If you want pure cheese, buy the block. You get milk, salt, cultures. You get melt that behaves. You get flavor that doesn't need a crutch. Now let's move on to the part that hurts a little. We're naming 5 US products and practices that would hit a wall under Europe's tighter standards. And I'll show you one simple swap that keeps the pasta glossy, saves a few bucks over time, and leaves the fillers in the aisle where they belong. The truth is, 100% grated is a pose. If purity matters, 3 ingredients win. Milk, rennet, salt. Time and microbes do the work. Not wood fiber, not flow agents, not shortcuts that dull melt and flavor. Switch one habit. Buy a small block, grate what you need, and read labels. You get real cheese, clean melt, better value over time. If this gave you something to chew on, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone. Next, we'll put store brands on heat side by side and show you which ones turn silky and which puff, sputter, and stall like plastic. You'll see the difference.